Yosemite National Park is one of the most breathtaking places on Earth. Towering granite walls, ancient forests, waterfalls that seem to fall forever. But behind the beauty lies thousands of miles of wilderness where people vanish without leaving a trail, a scream, or even a footprint. In June of 2012, a father and his early teen daughter walked into Yosemite and became two of those disappearances. For 6 agonizing years, their family waited, begged for answers, and hoped for a miracle, but nothing prepared anyone for what rangers finally discovered in 2018. Not a campsite. Not clothing. Not electronics. Just bone fragments, scattered in a way that raised more questions than answers. And to this day, investigators admit, no one knows how they vanished. No one knows what really happened. Only the forest knows. This is the story of Liam Ward, age 40, and his 13-year-old daughter Avery, their mysterious disappearance and the chilling discovery that followed. If you want to uncover the full terrifying story, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a shocking case like this. Liam Ward wasn't the type of man who made last-minute decisions. He worked as an HVAC technician in Fresno, kept a tight schedule, rarely missed a day of work, and was known for planning everything, from dinners to vacations, weeks in advance. His daughter Avery was his world. She had just turned 13, was shy but sweet, loved drawing, and had a fascination with national parks. Yosemite, with its cliffs and quiet meadows, was her favorite escape. But on June 29, 2012, Liam did something completely out of character. He left work early. He didn't call anyone. He didn't pack properly. He simply picked Avery up from her summer art class, drove home, threw a few things into a backpack, and told his sister, "I'm taking Avery up to Yosemite for the night. She needs a break." A break from what? He never said. Neighbors later recalled that Avery looked tired, almost withdrawn that day. One remembered seeing Liam load the car quickly, like he just wanted to get on the road before someone stopped him. At 4:17 p.m., they drove off. That was the last time anyone saw them alive. CCTV at the south entrance captured their SUV entering the park around 6:45 p.m. Barely any daylight remained. A ranger remembered the encounter vividly. He seemed preoccupied. Not distressed, but not relaxed either. Liam asked about short trails near Wawona, something quick and simple for the evening. The ranger suggested the Chilnwalna Falls trailhead, a popular area. But this is where the story gets strange. Liam didn't take a trail map. He ignored warnings about mountain lion sightings. He didn't register any planned hike, despite signs requesting it. Nothing about the stop made sense to those who later reviewed the footage. Avery wasn't seen smiling or taking photos, unusual for her. She sat silently, hugging her backpack to her chest. At 7:10 p.m., they parked near the trailhead, and then walked into the forest. A tourist couple walking back from a short hike crossed paths with Liam and Avery around 7:30 p.m. The sun was nearly gone. The couple later told investigators. They looked completely normal. Just a father and daughter. Nothing odd. No fear. No panic. No sense they were about to disappear. But that was the last confirmed sighting of them alive. When night fell, temperatures dropped sharply, something anyone experienced with Yosemite evenings would know to avoid. Yet neither Liam nor Avery returned to the parking lot. Their SUV remained untouched. The forest swallowed them whole. When Liam didn't show up to work on July 1st, his boss called family. When Avery missed her class, her aunt reported them missing. Park rangers found the SUV exactly where it had been parked 2 days earlier. Inside, Avery's sketchbook. a half-empty water bottle, Liam's wallet, extra socks, a flashlight with dead batteries. Everything pointed to a short trip, not an overnight backcountry hike. Search and rescue launched one of the largest operations of the summer. Helicopters, ground teams, K-9 units, mounted patrols, heat-detecting drones. For 5 days, they found nothing. Not a shoe print. Not an article of clothing. Not a broken branch. Not one piece of evidence that Liam and Avery had taken any trail or left it. Veteran trackers described it as like searching for ghosts. By day 10, the case took a darker tone. Rangers admitted privately, "People don't vanish this cleanly." Investigators tried everything. Phone records. Both phones pinged near the trailhead around 7 p.m. After that, there were no more signals. Bank/financial activity. No transactions after June 29th. Tips and sightings. None confirmed. Animal attack signs. No blood, no clothing, no drag marks. Human foul play. No witnesses saw an altercation, and there were no tracks suggesting someone followed them. Voluntary disappearance. Liam had no debt, no criminal history, no reason to run. Everything pointed to one impossible fact. They walked into a forest and left no trace behind. The search lasted 17 days before being scaled back. After 30 days, it was suspended. But Avery's aunt refused to give up. She organized volunteer searches, distributed flyers, and pushed for media attention. Still, years passed, and the case quietly grew cold. Between 2012 and 2018, dozens of people disappeared in U.S. national parks. Most were eventually found. But Liam and Avery's case baffled everyone because they left behind zero clues. Families don't get closure without answers. And in this case, there were none. No campsite, no clothing, no bones, no gear, no phone, no trace they were ever deeper in the park. It was as if the forest simply absorbed them. Their family held memorials. Investigators moved on. Rangers rotated out of the park. But on July 3, 2018, almost exactly 6 years after they vanished, Yosemite revealed something. That summer, massive storms had triggered flooding and debris slides in restricted backcountry areas. A team of rangers was sent to assess damage near a remote ravine 9 miles from the trailhead, in terrain so rugged that only trained personnel ever set foot there. Around 2:15 p.m., a ranger spotted something on a moss-covered slope. A tiny white object glinting in the sunlight. He climbed down, expecting animal bone. But when he got close, he realized it wasn't animal. It was a fragment of a human rib. Nearby, partially buried under leaves, a section of jawbone, 2 vertebrae, a hiking boot with small bones still inside, a piece of faded pink fabric. They radioed immediately for support. By the end of the day, rangers had recovered approximately 30% of a human skeleton. 2 days later, more bone fragments were found scattered downslope, spread far apart in multiple pockets. DNA later confirmed they belonged to Avery. But the state of the remains was what disturbed investigators the most, because they didn't match a fall, an animal attack, or natural decomposition patterns. Her bones were spread too wide, as if displaced over time. Some were missing entirely, and her clothing was torn in a way that didn't match animals or environment. There was no sign of her father. Until day 3. A ranger kneeling near a log found a partial humerus. Then, near a cluster of roots, a femur. Higher up the slope, 3 ribs. Over the next week, rangers found approximately 40% of Liam's skeleton, also scattered, also separated in unnatural patterns. Some bones were weathered as if exposed for 6 years. Others looked relatively preserved. None showed signs of a fatal fall. But the strangest part, no clothing of his was ever found. Not even scraps. Not even a shoelace. And his bones were spread even wider than Avery's, some pieces almost 200 feet apart. Investigators hoped the bones would finally give answers. They didn't. Cause of death: undetermined. Trauma: no fractures indicating a fall. No cuts indicating stabbing. No animal tooth marks that explained the scatter pattern. Decomposition: inconsistent. Some bones were bleached by sun exposure. Some had moss on them, suggesting long-term contact with soil. Bone displacement: unnatural. Wide. Multiple directions. Not consistent with one location or a single movement event. Clothing and gear: almost nothing recovered. Only Avery's fabric scrap was identified. Liam's items were never found. Location: impossible to reach unintentionally, especially with a child. One forensic specialist said privately, "It's as if they appeared there after the fact. Or were moved there. But by who? By what? There are no signs." The official statement claimed, "They likely became lost. Died of hypothermia or dehydration. Animal activity scattered their remains." But even rangers admitted, none of that matched the evidence. Unofficial theories emerged. 1. They wandered off trail and got lost. But trackers found no initial footprints, broken vegetation, or any trace they left the normal path. 2. They fell into the ravine and decomposed. But neither skeleton showed trauma consistent with a fall. 3. They were attacked by animals. Bones didn't show tooth marks consistent with dismantling. 4. They were taken deeper into the park. But by who? And how, with no trace? 5. They died elsewhere, and water or landslides moved them. Impossible. Weather patterns and slope direction contradicted this. No theory fit. Nothing made sense. Rangers who worked the case admitted off-record, "I've recovered bodies after 20 years in these woods. You always find something: shoes, belt buckles, scraps of fabric. But Liam, it's like he evaporated." The scariest part wasn't what they found. It was what they didn't find. No evidence of where they slept the night they vanished. No sign of a fire. No signs of a struggle. No clothing. No backpacks. No phones. No personal items. Even after sifting soil layers and searching crevices, rangers recovered nothing besides bone. One ranger said, "Even if animals got the clothes, you'd at least find zippers, buttons, shoe eyelets. We found nothing." That has never been explained. After the discovery in 2018, rangers launched one final large-scale search to locate remaining bones and belongings. For nearly 20 days, they covered cliffs, creeks, boulders, caves, forest floors, ledges. But only a few additional bone fragments were recovered, none with answers. The rest of their remains are still out there somewhere, lost in the park's silent halls of granite and shadow. The disappearance of Liam and Avery Ward remains one of Yosemite's most unsettling mysteries because of what it lacks. No witnesses. No evidence. No clear route. No cause of death. No belongings. No logical explanation. Just scattered bones and a 6-year gap of complete silence. A case ranger summarized it perfectly. We know when they entered the park. We know where their car was. We know where fragments of their bones ended up. But we have no idea what happened between those points. None. And that is the most terrifying part. Today, the Ward case is studied in missing person training courses because it highlights the most frightening reality of wilderness disappearances. People can vanish in a way that leaves no trail. Not because of criminals. Not because of wildlife. Not because of carelessness. But because sometimes the land keeps its secrets. Avery's aunt still visits Yosemite every year on the anniversary of their disappearance. She brings flowers to the trailhead, lays them under a pine tree, and whispers, "I'm sorry we couldn't find you. I hope you weren't scared." But she'll never know. No one will. Liam and Avery Ward walked into Yosemite for a simple father-daughter getaway. They were experienced enough to stay safe, smart enough not to take reckless risks, and loved enough that nobody believed they wanted to vanish on purpose. Yet 6 years later, only fragments of their skeletons were found, scattered across one of the most remote, inaccessible parts of the park. No gear, no clothing, no items, no explanation, just bones, and an empty silence.